Hey guys, it's Michael here. It's early February, and it's been a few months, I don't know, 4 or 5 months since I fired up the mill. Came up here yesterday, did some cleanup. There's some vines growing over the tracks. I shoveled out the old sawdust and grass growing here and moved some sawdust over here just so I have maybe a less muddy area. I live in the Northwest, there's a lot of mud on the ground usually, so threw some sawdust down. Checked the oil, checked the tires, aired them up, lubed up the guide bearings and everything, and fired it up, and did a few test cuts. And today we're going to do some milling, a few cedar logs and stuff. And one of them, at the end of the video, I cut a whole log. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, where I cut it and mill it into usable lumber, and I put the log back together at the end so you can kind of see all the cuts that it took to make that lumber out of that log. It's kind of a neat thing. Yeah, so some of you guys are new subscribers. I don't know if you've seen that I made a sawmill or not, if you've subscribed from other videos, but yeah, I built this thing about 4 years ago from scratch, and yeah, it works pretty good. So if you want to check it out milling, stick around, watch the video. And if you're still interested in it, at the end of the video, if you go to my page, I have some videos on how I built this thing. So yeah, stick around and check it out. Before we get milling, I'm going to give you, some of you new subscribers, a brief description of the mill in case you haven't seen it yet. Built the original mill, salvaged most of the stuff, built it for about 350 bucks. Some friends hooked me up with some parts along the way. Since then, I've added a little more to the cost for electric power feed and electric throttle and blade control, stuff like that. But the initial mill was about 350 bucks, and start off with this racking here. This is just pallet racking that I use for the track, and I got some angle iron turned on side, so it kind of makes a kind of a pyramid shape for the casters to roll in. And as you see, the wheels don't look like your traditional bandsaw wheels. These are motorcycle wheels from I think a Suzuki GS early 80s street bike. And I use swing arms as well, motorcycle swing arms in here. Had to buy some new parts here, the centrifugal clutch, belts, bearing blocks for the jack shaft and pulleys. Got all that stuff for a pretty good price at Surplus Center online. Salvaged most of the metal for it. My friend had this Kohler motor sitting in his garage. He got it at a boat yard. They were replaced from an air compressor unit on a fishing boat. He was happy to have a mill in the area, so he gave me that, and since then I milled him a whole bunch of wood. Let's see what else. These log bunk crossbars here are just like, they're usually painted orange. They're pallet racking crossbars that would hold like stuff at Costco on them, so more pallet stuff. And these log lockdowns are actually from pipe clamps for woodworking, things like that. And here's the picture of the power feed. This, a friend gave me a golf cart caddy, something that he found at a garage sale for $5, and it didn't quite have a low enough gear ratio, so I coupled it to a $20 Harbor Freight boat winch, modified that, bought some sprockets from Surplus Center, and has this kind of a chain drive system through here. And got some limit switches in case you put the mill in return while you're putting some wood away. These just shut it off when it gets home. And what else do we have? Pretty much just a basic boat winch I got at a salvage store for a height adjustment. Here's the little control box. This is for forward, variable speed, and reverse for my feed control. And this would be on idle right here if it was running. You'd flip this and to full throttle, and the mill will idle up from idle to go to full throttle. And it controls this 12-volt water solenoid for controlling the blade lube. Shut it back to idle after you're cut, idles down, and shuts off the water. So that's basically a simple overview of it. Got a few other things, I guess. These lock the head in the mill when I'm milling, and simple ruler for height adjustment. I got this adjustable pointer so you can kind of set your height for what you're cutting, and that's about it. So next we'll get milling. Alright, so the log we just milled up, I think this on the small end was something about this distance. I don't know, what's that, 12 inches, 13 inches across. The butt end was a little bit bigger. Like I said, this is kind of about the size of log I think we milled here. And here's what you get out of it. Got a little stuff I threw aside in the firewood pile, but I got a 6x6 beam. These are 1/2 inch by 8 inch boards. These are 1/2 inch by 6 inch. And a bunch of 1/2 inch stuff. We've been using it for a little outbuilding siding. And this stuff is a lot of waned things, and I could take it on the bandsaw and just clean up the waning and get more 1/2 inch by 6 inch boards. But my buddy that hooked me up with all the cedar trees here, he likes a lot of the waning for his outbuildings, so I'm just leaving it on. He likes that stuff, and that's kind of when you get down into the cant, you'd make a bunch of passes like that. And yeah, he gets a lot of boards out of it, so he's happy with all this waned up stuff. But yeah, that's what you get out of a kind of a smaller size cedar log. Alright, so we got a 10-foot cedar log on here. The small end's facing that way, the big end over here. It's got a lot of taper. This one looks like when it was getting cut up, it got a fracture on it here, so we oriented that up, so we'll get rid of it in the first few passes. But it is about 14 inches this way, about 14.5 that way inside the bark. And this other end's about 12.5, so it's got a lot of taper. So what we end up doing is we get milling here, we put the small end towards the mill so you can kind of line up the shot where you want to make the first pass. And we have these 2 shims down here, just some wood scraps, to kind of bring up the whole log and just kind of make it so when the mill goes through, it's more of a even cut. And we'll make a first few cuts here, and then we'll rotate the log, put the shims back down under it again for the second side of the cant. And then after that, we pull the shims and just rely on the log bunks for making our level cuts. So we'll get milling here. Like I said, I had a lot of taper, so this is the first cut. Probably just turn this little scrap into firewood here. And take another pass, get a little further into the log, and then we'll rotate it and do the other cut for the cant. Alright, now here's that log we just milled. I've been wanting to do this for a while. We took the time to cut it and stack it in a configuration we could put it back together. So this is kind of neat. You can kind of see what you get out of a tree. This is that 10-foot cedar. And here's the end with all the cuts. So this in the center is a 6x6. These I haven't ripped the bark off of yet, but those could probably be 8 or 9 inch boards right there on top. This is a little bit of waste you could use for firewood because it had such taper. Or, you know, you can cut a few like maybe 6-foot boards out of it. Again, cut the bark off of this guy. But anyways, 6x6, some 1/2 inch by 6s down there for some little siding, and a bunch of 8 by 1/2 inch for more siding, and some wider ones here to cut down. So anyways, there's a lot of lumber there. I'm going to pull them off the mill now and cut some of the live edge on some of these, and should have a nice stack of lumber. Well, we got a few logs milled up, and even though it's early February in the Northwest, we didn't get any rain on us. It's like 48 degrees, pretty comfortable temperature for doing this. And even if it's wet, at least we don't have any snow on the ground. Thanks for watching, you guys, and maybe for some of the new subscribers that haven't seen this mill yet or knew I built one of these. Hope you guys watched the video and enjoyed it, and I appreciate all the nice comments you guys have been making on all the videos, and I'll keep up my side of the bargain and making more videos of projects I've been working on, and hopefully you guys keep subscribing and enjoying the videos. So thanks again for watching, you guys. Take care.